So I had a request to do a problem from your online homework, section 1.1, number 37. And it wants you to solve algebraically. So remember, to solve algebraically means to get x alone on one side by itself. Well, the problem here is when we try to do that, we have this whole square root trapping one of our x's. So the first thing we're going to do is seclude the square root and then keep everything else on the other side. So since it's x plus 26 minus 5 times all that square root, I'm just going to go ahead and add this square root to the other side. So I'm going to move it over and add it to the other side. When you do that, you'll get x plus 26 equals 5 times the square root of x plus 32. Now, again, I want to get x by itself on one side. So first I got to get rid of this square root now. So how we get rid of the square root is we do its inverse. So we're going to square it. Now remember, when I square a polynomial like this, it means this times itself. So it literally means x plus 26 times x plus 26. And then that'll equal all of this squared. If you do some algebra and actually FOIL this out, you'd get x squared plus 52x plus 676 equals, so I just FOILed that out. When I square this, since it's multiplication, this squared goes to everything. So 5 squared is 25 times, well, the square root of x plus 32 squared is just going to be x plus 32. So we're going to go ahead and simplify this, and I would distribute 25x plus 800 if you actually go ahead and do that. So then, remember, our goal is to get x by itself. So we should probably move all the x's to one side. And since this is a quadratic, because I have this x squared, I'm going to move the 800 over as well. So if I go ahead and subtract all of that from both sides, we would get x squared plus 27x minus 124 equals 0. Now, you could, to solve this, do the quadratic formula, or you can factor. So I'm going to factor because my lead coefficient is 1. So I need to think of the factors of negative 124 that add up to 27. So when I do that, I'm going to set up my parentheses for factoring. Okay. My factors of 124, I have 2 and 122. Well, no matter what, if one of those is negative, those aren't going to work. 3 doesn't go into it. 4 and 31, if one of those is negative, i.e. the 4, 31 plus negative 4 is 27. So then I'll get x minus 4, x plus 31 equals 0. Then I'm not done now, I have to solve. So to solve, I set each one of these equal to 0. So I get x minus 4 equals 0 to get x equals 4 for an answer. And I set x plus 31 equal to 0 and I get x equals negative 31 as an answer. Now, because of this square root, and when I squared it I could get the plus or minus of this, we actually added an extra answer. So we call that an extraneous solution. So I have to plug these back into my original and see if they work. And remember, my original was x plus 26 minus 5 x plus 32. And I want that to equal 0. So if I plug in 4, I get 4 plus 26, which is 30, minus 5 times the square root of, well, 4 plus 32. Oop, you can't see it, sorry. Which would be 36. Well, so then I get 30 minus 5. Well, the square root of 36 is 6. So I get 30 minus 30, which is equal to 0. So that means x equals 4 works. So now I got to plug in negative 31. So if I plug in negative 31 into my equation, okay, I wanted it to equal 0 in order for this to work. Well, negative 31 plus 26 is going to be negative 5 minus 5 square root negative 32 or 31 plus 32 is 1. So I get negative 5 minus, well, the square root of 1 is 1. 5 times 1 is negative 5, which is equal to negative 10. Negative 10 is not equal to 0. So that means negative 31 is an extraneous solution and does not actually work. So our only answer then is x equals 4. So again, this problem took a lot of work, but if you just go slowly and do all the steps, you will be able to do it. So that is how you do a problem with a radical and solving.